All right, part two, we back. So let's get back into the video.
Let's go to war. That's a good idea. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Mike McCall just told CNN that his committee is drafting legislation in the event that it's necessary to authorize U.S. military force if the current conflict between...
Come on. It's too much power
between Israel and the 17 factions of Palestinians. You can call it Hamas if you want to. That's how the mainstream media frames it, of course. But that's if it spills over any further, then the U.S. would use military force if the current conflict between Israel and Palestinians basically broadens into a wider war with Iran. That's the message of this legislation from the U.S. Foreign Affairs Committee. And this gives Biden unlimited power to carry out attacks inside of Iran, using American men and women as sacrificial lambs for their neo-colonial aims. That's exactly what they're doing. Wait, did Biden ask for this power? By the way, well, interestingly, McCall danced around this question and wouldn't answer the question when pressed. Actually, here's a transcript of it. McCall was careful not to say whether the White House had specifically asked for such an authorization, telling reporters, I quote, "I don't want to confirm that. It's just that there is concern that, well, we're currently drafting one in the event it's necessary," end quote. He doesn't usually mince words or fumble around with his words like Biden does. So when asked on that very question, did Biden even ask for this? Did the president ask for authorization to go to war with Iran? Well,
So it's basically like, well, we just got really excited at the prospect.
Yeah, we were like, I just want to get the paperwork ready.
Oh my God, this could be happening.
Just very excited. Let me get the paperwork ready. You'll remember Mike McCall, of course, is the same douchebag, a warmonger that wants an all-out war with Russia. He's the same guy that wanted to send F-16s. He's okay with a nuclear war against Russia. He wanted to send F-16s to Ukraine. So this is the guy itching to launch a war against Iran. By the way, Biden hasn't asked for...
It's not a coincidence that he just said, who? Iran and Russia. It's Bible prophecy.
This authorization to attack Iran, as we said. But Mike McCall wants to be ready just to hand him that slip of paper because he's been itching for this over the past week and says that everything that happened in Israel is all clearly Iran's fault. What evidence do you have? But here he is.
One of the biggest problems in our society is food waste. But now, also you can make it.
Remember, Iran has financed Hamas. They gave, $150 million to them just last year. They give them the rockets that they fire into Israel. And the idea that they're not complicit with this or have fingerprints is absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Really? So
even though just last week CNN was reporting that U.S. intelligence has not been able to make this direct link yet, but they're going to keep trying. They're
going to keep trying. They're going to keep looking for it. We're going to keep looking for, babies in incubators like and weapons of mass destructions in Iraq. What sort of fake intelligence can we drum up? Can we get Colin Powell back from the dead? Can we get Colin Powell to come and hold a little vial up and say that they found out that this whole thing was carried out because of Iran? Their cell networks where everyone's...
I think there's more evidence pointing to the weapons coming from us.
Right.
We spoke about that yesterday.
I mean, it's hilarious, right? This idea, the notion that...
What they're mentioning is that it was found out that the weapons that the U.S. sent to Ukraine are the same weapons that have been sent to Hamas to carry out their attacks on the Raeli people.
We're so upset at Iran may had something to do with Hamas that we would then invade Iran. Can you think about the insane logic of this for a second? Mike McCall can.
Well,
he's thought this out. Listen to what his whole reasoning is on this, specifically about this idea of, well, Iran clearly sent weapons to Hamas. Wait a second. Who the F created Hamas? along with Israel. Who the hell funded and created Hamas? We did. Watch this.
This is the nightmare scenario we've always been worried about. Israel, there's no question they're going to go into Gaza. It's their 9/11. They want justice. They're going to go.
And you'll see him keep using buzzwords like that. It's their 9/11, the terror attacks. And I was watching the football game on Sunday, and there was right before they sung the national anthem. Our hearts go out to all the people in Israel who died in the terror attacks. They're they're going to use those buzzwords to grab the hearts of the people and the minds of the people so that they're justified in their actions.
Go in and take out Hamas, which is like ISIS. I went to that kibbutz where they killed all the little children there and decapitated them. It's going to happen. So then what is Iran going to do? Are they just going to help their proxies like Hezbollah and others? Or are they going to get directly involved in this conflict? Either way, Maria, my committee is charged with war and peace. My committee has the power to declare war or issue an authorized use of military force. We don't want to do that. But if this escalates, that's what worries me the most.
Tell me what you're referring to. Are you saying that the United States will...
Hold on, before we go into this, and I believe I might be jumping the gun. Well, I'm going to let them play.
have to get involved?
Well, if we want to stop, say, Israel from obliterating Iran, yes. And that would be a question for the American people. Do we want to get involved to defend Israel? Right now, we're just providing weapons and training. We're not involved. We're not firing our missiles from our destroyer ships in the Mediterranean. But the minute...
And that's what I was speaking about earlier, about the ships being in the Mediterranean, coming in from over here, going through the Mediterranean, and they're posted up right here. So if they want to get involved in this war, it's not that hard for them. But let's just go back into what he was saying, because he started talking about, this their 9/11 and, the terror attacks, this and that and the third. Okay, well, what about this? From the BBC News. Egypt warned Israel days before Hamas struck. Who said it? A U.S. committee chairman says it. Okay? It says Israel was warned by Egypt of potential violence 3 days before Hamas' deadly cross-border raid. Okay? And I'm jumping the gun. They're going to talk about it. Keep this in mind. We're going to come back and visit this. If we can get the video to play.
If that happens, it does trigger the War Powers Act. And so that's why we have to be so careful here and pray that it does not escalate to that level, because what would follow after that would be very bloody.
It sounds like you expect this escalation to happen.
I think the Hezbollah one will, as soon as Israel goes into Gaza. That's the nightmare scenario that I talked about. The Situation Room is, how can Hezbollah not go in when the narratives come out? Hamas is very good at propaganda, as you've seen, and they're going to.
Yeah, so is Israel, and so is the U.S. As he spoke about, they're decapitating kids, and they got the plans to 9 schools. They're going to go in there and they're going to kill all the kids in the schools. They had the picture. Let me see if I can find the picture. Where is it? Hold on. I'm going to get this picture. All right, here we go. So it says Netanyahu, which is the Israeli prime minister, says shows Blinken horrific pictures of infant victims. Right in the prime minister's office, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Thursday showed a visiting U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken horrific pictures of babies he said were killed by Hamas militants in Israel over the weekend. So you see his face. Here is the picture. Here's the picture that he's seen. Here's the real picture. This is the real picture. It's fake. Propaganda. Okay? You can see it's the exact same picture. You see the pink right here and the pink right there, the same gloves, the same shape. It's a puppy that they've doctored up. So who's really coming with the propaganda?
Blame all this on Israel, even though they took the...
Who owns all the media to push out propaganda? It's not Gaza. It's not the Palestinians.
They drew first blood. They were the ones that went in to this massacre, 9/11 style. It's their fault, not Israel's. But when Israel responds, they get blamed for it. And then Hezbollah gets involved with all their rockets.
Right.
And then if Iran gets in there, then we're talking about issues of war and peace.
Yeah, so my committee is in charge of war and peace, but we love the war part. The peace part, that's not something I really ever bring up on our meeting notes.
Yeah.
Like when I held our meetings
when
at the
is
war and
peace
peace.
part ever won?
It's accidental when it happens.
We've decided we're going to have complete peace with Iran. We all talked about it, and we just want everything to be beautiful.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do anything. We're going to go to the talking table instead.
Yeah, what do you say, Philip?
Am I the only one that caught that he said that like we have to be ready to go to war with Iran to keep Israel from obliterating Iran?
Yeah, I was
exactly.
confused by that too. I'm like, wait, what? I thought you wanted
So
that.
we need to protect Iran because Israel's going to go to war with Iran and decimate them. We just authorized the War Powers Act for President Biden in case we'll go into Iran. Are you following this?
Well, here.
That's just how bloodthirsty these Edomites are, man. They're blessing with the sword. All right, and they're gonna wave that motherfucker. Not only that, we'll just say that their eyes are fat. They have more than their hearts could wish. They want to take over this whole globe. All right, he's ready to start a nuclear war, which is de facto. Everybody, we know what's going to happen with the Third World War and how America's going to be destroyed in various places around the world. But from a carnal sense, if you start a nuclear war, it's pretty much the end of humanity. And he's ready to do it. Why? Because he's an Edomite and it's in his blood, it's in his DNA. The Most High programmed him to be a man of the war.
Here's how you protect them is that you obliterate them first.
Right.
And then Israel can't do it.
Okay.
And we
so it's
protected
preemptive.
you from being obliterated by Israel because we did it first.
Go get them first.
I guess maybe it saves the Middle East by like not having Israel to be to blame, but at the same time, that's just a ridiculous notion.
Right.
Well, no, they don't want Israel to get those rebuilding contracts. They want us to get all the military contracts and war contracts so that they can make the money and not Israel.
Yeah,
Right.
when we go in and destabilize Iran, and then we have to rebuild it like we do Ukraine. BlackRock and Vanguard need those contracts. They need to be able to go in and secure those billion-dollar contracts.
Right,
there.
and that's not Clayton being pessimistic. Before our break, we showed you the U.S. State Department's memos saying that they want to remove remove oligarchs. They want to de-oligarchization Ukraine in order to put private American investments in there. So basically, our oligarchs for your oligarchs is the unintended happy benefit of war in Ukraine. Don't think that template doesn't, sort of replicate itself in other places.
But I love this idea
Our
that
oligarchs believe in believe in democracy, so it's different. Their oligarchs aren't democratic.
Yeah,
so.
Jeff Bezos and these guys, exactly. They believe in democracy. So I love this idea. He's pre-authorizing, giving a pre-authorization. It's like getting. Are you pre-approved for a mortgage? He's pre-authorized President Biden with this new war powers legislation to go in and attack Iran, because you know where this is going, right? And they're using Israel basically in this situation as bait. And all the intelligence services suddenly went quiet. They couldn't figure this out, what was about to happen ahead of time. We have a report also overnight, of course, that the Israeli Air Force and Army was put on a 7-hour standby. A 7-hour stand down as this was unfolding. They really knew about this. They were told to stand down. Interesting.
That goes into what I was speaking about. They were told to stand down for 7 hours. Egypt warned them. They let them know what was going on. And what did they do? Did they beef up the border and say, no, we're not going to have this? They said, no, stand down. Let them do it. Let them do it. Why? Because they wanted this to happen. It's just a whole reason to go over there and F them people up, them Palestinians up, and for the bigger purpose to get Iran, to get to Russia, all right, to pop this war off, all right? And like I said before, there's nothing new under the sun. This ain't the first time something like that has happened. Let's get this clip.
October 9th, 1941, Washington, D.C. The United States has decoded and translated a secret message sent from Japan to its spies in Hawaii. This message will prove to be one of the most controversial documents to emerge from the attack on Pearl Harbor.
This first of the bomb plots messages, Tokyo specifically asks its spies to divide up the harbor into 5 subsections and notate it in grid format, thus the name bomb plots messages, as in plots on a map, asking where particular ships are indeed berthed or tied up against docks, so that the most valuable U.S. warships can be targeted by a Japanese air raid, which is the only possible interpretation of these bomb plots messages, which become more detailed and specific in their requests throughout the rest of October and November 41.
Even after being decrypted and translated in Washington, the bomb plot message is not forwarded to the commanders at Pearl Harbor, Admiral Husband Kimmel and General Walter Short. The reasons for this have been hotly debated for over 70 years.
The only logical explanation that makes sense is that FDR deliberately withheld the bomb plot's intelligence from Hawaii because he wanted it utterly destroyed in order to further his war aims against Germany.
And there you go. Same thing happened in Pearl Harbor. They had the information. They didn't use the information because they wanted the Japanese to destroy Pearl Harbor so that they can further their agenda. All right, which eventually comes to what? Them dropping nuclear bombs on Japan. And it's the same today. Israel had the news. They didn't do anything. They let it happen. They let their people get killed so that they could come back and just go all out war. It's an excuse just to do it. Okay? Let me see. Point of the story. All right, let's get to the end. I don't know if y'all watched the first video and y'all watching the second video. The water for paying attention or coming through and get this edification. But this is all coming down to this war wise. All right, like I said before, going back to Matthew's, the end is not yet. But this is where it's coming to. It says Joel, I'm gonna start at verse 9. It says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war. All right, let everybody know, hey, it's about to go up. Wake up the mighty men, let the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Okay, it's basically saying take those farm weapons and turn them into weapons of war, which is basically, you know, like during World War One, World War Two, your everyday farmers, your factory workers, everybody was drafted, everybody went to war. The war machine, basically wake up that war machine. All right. It's not about agriculture or anything like that. We're gonna need these bodies for war. We're gonna need this energy for war. Okay. So that's what it's speaking about. It says, let the weak say, I am strong. All right. So all these other little ancillary nations, like I said, you have the two, main contenders, U.S. and Russia, but they're all backed by U.S. being backed by NATO, Russia being backed by all the smaller countries that we named before, the Collective Security Treaty Organization, backed by the BRICS nations. Okay, which BRICS I believe is growing to like 27 some odd nations. Everyone's picking sides. Okay, it says, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves round about thither, cause the mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be awakened and come up to the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. All right, the Most High's judgment. It says, for there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. All this is gearing up for the Third World's War, man. All this is gearing up for the Third World's War. It says, third, whoa. Hey, Revelation 11 and 14. It says, the second woe is past, World War II is past, and behold, the third woe, all right, World War III, cometh quickly. All right, and the second World War ended in 1945. All right, it's 2023. So this is a small time to the Most High. May seem like, it's a lifetime. It's way past my lifetime. I was born in, doesn't matter when I was born. Okay, but I'm not World War II old. I'm not Vietnam old, which that was another proxy war between the U.S. and Russia. All those wars that I went over, they're all basically were wars for communism versus democracy. All right, but most important part, that third woe was coming quickly, and everything that we've just gone over is setting up prophecy to come to pass right in front of our eyes. And with that being said, Lord's will, you were edified, and I'm gonna give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakar Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, the men, the women, the children who follow. Shalom.